Hey, welcome back to World Entertainment, and we've just gone through just over 10 hours of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, because each one of these episodes was basically well over an hour. I think there was only like 2 out of the 10 episodes that were under an hour. Other than that, they were all over an hour. And I just want to do this video to just kind of break down the whole season of season 1 of Starfleet Academy and just the bizarre decisions they made, how stupid they got things, and it's just ridiculous. So one of the things Alex Kurtzman has truly introduced into Star Trek nowadays, since Discovery, is these ridiculous feats of dumbness that it's like, do you not understand how space works, how science works, how physics works, any of this stuff? Like in season 1 of Discovery, they introduced, what was it, bloody sound waves or something, sonar in space, and it was like, okay. And then season 2, they decided you could see 3 points of light that were hundreds of thousands, if not millions of light years away from each other in completely different areas of the quadrant, and all 3 of them were visible at the exact same time. Like, they all came on at the same time, and you were able to see them all at the same time. And it's just like, do you not understand how things work? And in this season of Starfleet Academy, they misunderstand everything about physics, about space, about everything. Once again, when they introduced the minefield, because we're told, and we know this, especially since TNG, that Federation space was 8,000 light years across. Now, that's not just in one direction, that's both from left to right, up and down. Because don't forget, space is basically a 3D model. It's not just one singular 2D line, it's a 3D model. Then we're told that in the final episode that the mines they're using, which have the Omega-47 stuff in it, they have hundreds of mines. And that was specific. They said hundreds. Not thousands, not millions, hundreds. And then Admiral Vance says that the area covered spanned 88,000 light years. Okay, even without the 88,000 light years, if you've watched Dave Cullen's video, his review of episode 10, he actually asked ChatGTP or GTPT, whatever the hell it's bloody called, how many minds you would actually need to cover this space and how long it would take. And the mathematical numbers it gave was insane. Absolutely insane. Never mind a trillion. It's the next one up from a trillion, which was quadrillion or something like that, I think it's called. I've never actually heard of it myself, but it's the next one up from a trillion. That's how many mines you would need. It says it would span probably about 5 to 10 years to plant them, and that's using more than one ship at a maximum speed of 9.9 at full warp. So what News Bracket did in a seemingly 15 minutes, it in fact took, or should take, anywhere between 5 to 15 years, multiple ships at full warp speed, and over a trillion, quadrillion, or whatever the hell it was called, mines to actually do what they did in this show. And that's only covering the 8,000 light years, not the 88,000 light years that we're told they covered. So how can he keep getting so many things like that wrong, such as we're going to use the sonic weapon in space? And it was like, what is going on? So the show introduced us to the character of Caleb. Now, he was 6 years old when we meet him with his mother, who's played by Tatiana Maslany, and she is up on trial for the Federation because she helped New Baraka steal supplies from a Federation shuttlecraft. In doing so, they killed the pilot. Now, she's put on trial, but she was being tried to give the offer of a reduced sentence. Baraka is given, I can't remember, maybe it was a life sentence or something in federal prison, or Federation prison. Tatiana Maslany's character was given X amount of years. I can't remember exactly how many years they said, if they even said how many years, but not in prison. And that's important, not in prison, but in a rehabilitation camp where she would still have visitation rights to Caleb. She breaks down and starts screaming and tells young 6-year-old Caleb not to trust the Federation or Starfleet or anything like that. She's the only one he can trust. In which then he runs away and escapes, which was just ridiculous. So we're being told then that 15 years passes when we meet Caleb again and he's grown up. And it's like the whole Federation couldn't find a 6-year-old who jumped out a window basically on a planet during a seemingly sandstorm of some sort. And it's like, he's 6 years of age on a planet. How can you not find him? He has to be the easiest person to find. It makes no sense how you cannot find him. But they didn't. And 15 years later, we meet him again where he was captured and being transported to a prison because he's turned into a bit of a scumbag. He's stealing, he's, fighting, he's doing all this stuff. And Ake pretty much, as they say, put the gun to his head and said, well, you can either go to prison or you can join the academy alongside me. Obviously, he takes that option because he's promised, we'll help you find your mother. Biggest issue with this is his whole setup is that he's joining Starfleet to find his mother. That's his whole motivation, is to find his mother. Even the writers and directors and everybody else with this show seemed to have completely forgot that, because up until episode 9, she was never looked for. He mentioned her once somewhere, I think it was episode 6, no, 7, I think it was. Maybe before that, I think it was 7 though. And he brought up, like, hey, why didn't you ask News Baraka where she was? And Ake's like, well, he was hardly going to tell us the truth, would he? That was it. Why are you not actually looking for her? Why are you never constantly Ake saying, well, what have you done today to find her? It was set up in the first 2 episodes that she was going to be this vital thing to Caleb's motivation and his character arc. And it turned out, no, she wasn't. She never played a part in that at all until episode 9. And that was it. It was like, wow, 10 episodes and you completely forgot about that arc. And that was the other issue with the entire season, was the character's development, or should we say lack thereof, because my good God, did they flip on a dime from who they should be to what they want to be to who they really are, and back and forth. The only character who actually stayed consistent from the time we met her to the time we leave her was the character of Genesis. She's the only one. Her character didn't evolve in any way, but her character was the only one that was consistent. She knew what she wanted, she knew that she wanted to get there, and that was her arc. She didn't grow as a character, but she stayed consistent. She wanted to be a captain, she wanted to be in charge, and that remained the same throughout the entire show. Everyone else flip-flopped constantly. It was like, Jaden wants to be a medic. We never once saw him actually perform anything medical. In fact, in the first episode, when they end up in the sickbay with the Klingon Jem'Hadar thing, the first officer who's wounded, he doesn't know what to do. He's almost nervous to do anything. It's like, this is what you're here for. You literally said you want to be a medic. And yet, we never saw him in any class doing medicine. Ever. We saw him with the rest of them doing a debate, which there was next to no debate in. He was there with theatre until he sneezed. And that was the end of Jaden for the next couple of episodes. We never saw him be a medic. Even in the final episode, when the doctor starts malfunctioning and they say, Jaden, you're on medic. You're going to take the doctor, not to sick bay or to maybe to engineering or a lab or something. No, take him to the captain's quarters and try and figure out what's wrong with him. It's like, okay, out of everything that we have available on the ship, you want me to take a holographic doctor to the captain's quarters to try and figure out what's wrong with him? Right, how's that being a medic as well? Surely an engineer would be better suited to try and figure out what's wrong with the doctor than a medic in training, supposedly, because again, we never saw him actually train. Durham doesn't seem to know whether he's coming or going. He seems to be, I want to be a pilot, but I want to be a captain. Maybe I want to be a security. I want to be this, I want to be that. I'm an asshole. Now I'm not. But now I am again. But now I'm really not. Now I think I'm gay. Now I'm definitely not. But then I hint that I was. But I'm definitely not. But I absolutely am. It was like, what the hell is this guy's character? And why is he a fish species that looks like humans constantly? Even when they go back to one of their own worlds, which was the moon of one of their worlds, that apparently was an ocean but dried up. So his entire species goes to that moon and all look human. Why? Why does he not walk around as the fish? Why not? It made no sense. Sam was the biggest joke of this entire series. She was just retarded, like full on retarded. You had a hologram that was created 4 months earlier when we meet her in the first episode. She was created 4 months ago. She's programmed to be a 17-year-old. She acts like a 5-year-old. Then she gets damaged through phaser fire, which a couple of episodes before that, we were shown that she can't be hit by phaser fire, that she can change herself to soft light to make phaser fire go through her, yet they forgot about that and she got hit by phaser fire, which damaged her, to which then she went and got fixed. But then they flipped that again and said, actually, she's not fixed. They go kill her, but then bring her back with the memories of that first version, even though they said she wouldn't have those memories, but then flip that again to say, well, she will, but she'll also have these new memories. And rather than just program her to have all this knowledge, they made her grow up for 17 years. It was like, why didn't you just program this thing to be the best at what it can do from day one? Why did you program it to be a 17-year-old and act like a 17-year-old and send it to the academy? Why? It made no sense. And then, of course, the things she could do and not do. Oh, look, she can transport anywhere and everywhere conveniently until it's not convenient and she can't. How somehow she manages to appear holographic style, not transport, holding solid objects. Made no sense. She can't be hit by phaser fire until all of a sudden she can be hit by phaser fire. She had to do exercise. She showered. She created air bubbles underwater. It was just the bizarrest thing ever. And the character didn't improve at all. They tried to change her in episode 7, 8, whichever one it was, only for her to still act the same way. So that character was just all over the place. The Betazoid girl, whatever her name is, Tamara or whatever, she has like the most insane arc because she says, oh, I'm an empath. No, you're not. You're a telepath. You're not an empath. You're fully Betazoid. You're not half Betazoid. Half Betazoids are empaths. Full Betazoids are telepaths. But she's not just a telepath. She's a super telepath because she has to have a neural inhibitor. Otherwise, she can melt people's heads just by feelings. Turns out, no, she's actually in control, and all she had to do was be told, hey, you got this. You're so great. You can do it. You don't need that neural inhibitor. And she doesn't. And it was ridiculous. 1 minute she was fine with incidents that happened. Next minute she was feeling like she was a freak and everybody was staring at her like she's the monster who killed people. No, she killed the enemy and saved everybody, but that be damned. And her arc was just so strange. Is she in a relationship with Caleb? Are they not in the relationship? Because 1 minute they're in it, then they're not. Then they seem to be back in it. Then the next episode, they seem to not be in it. Then they're good with each other. Then they don't seem to be good with. It was, who is this character? Her brother? Screw that dude. He just vanished after episode 7. He was gone. Never to be seen again. It was like, did they completely forget about this guy? That, like, was he not available or something? You know, did he have to go back to work at Foot Locker? Because I doubt that guy was actually an actor. It was insane. And that was the other issue. You kept meeting characters who were there 1 minute and gone for the next entire show. The first officer, the Jem'Hadar Klingon woman. That thing is meant to be the first officer of the ship. She's in the first 3 episodes, then gone. Never to be seen again until now, the final episode. And it's like, where the hell have you been? You're meant to be the first officer. You haven't been seen off at all for the past 8 episodes or whatever. Where the hell have you been? Don't know. It's just, there were so many things like that. There's so many inconsistencies. Oh, this can do that, but then next episode, it absolutely can't. Oh, look, transporters. We can just transport anywhere, from anywhere, no problem, until the story would require, well, we could get to that place too quickly if we did that. Now we have to make it sound like the transporters can't do what we've been showing you they can do for the entire show. Such as, oh look, Caleb's mother's been shot and they're on the bridge and they need to get her to sickbay. Don't worry, Caleb will pick her up and him and the doctor will walk into a turbo lift and go down to the sickbay and walk their way to the sickbay. Episode 9, oh look, everybody just transports from the sickbay straight onto the bridge. It was like, why didn't you just transport her from the bridge to the sickbay? Why did you have to walk? Why is 1 minute everybody transporting here, there and everywhere on the ship, and the next minute, no, that's actually not possible, you can't do that. It's just colossally stupid how much of this stuff they were getting wrong all the time. First episode, the ship, the Athena, in one barrage of torpedoes, blew up and completely destroyed Noose Baraka's ship. Formed whatever they were called, something Vardy Raiders or whatever the hell they were called. She simply says, blow that ship to hell. No negotiation. No, their shields are down, we got power back. No, fire and disable that ship. No, just straight up blow it to hell. And they're like, yeah, great, cool, do that. Blew it to hell, blew it to smithereens. And yet the next time we see the Athena had to fight one of those ships, it barely scratched the surface. It's like, why did your aft torpedoes blow one to Kingdom Come, but your forward-facing torpedoes didn't even scratch the surface of one of these ships? It's the exact same type of ship. Why didn't you blow that one to hell like the first one? Made no sense. Absolutely no sense whatsoever. Neither did the actual crew of the Athena, which there was none. Seriously, there was none. All we ever saw really was Ake, the Doctor, Tig Notaro. That was it. The Jem'Hadar, as I said, kept vanishing. The bridge crew we saw twice. Twice. They were in the first episode and they were in episode 4, I think it was. That was it. Where the hell were the bridge crew on this ship every time we saw the bridge? They were never there. It made zero sense. So this ship could function with nobody. Such as in episode 10 when we're told, hey, we got a skeleton crew on board. What's the skeleton crew complement? 3 officers and 6 cadets. That was it. It's like, that's number 1, not a skeleton crew. A skeleton crew would be half of a crew, not a fraction of the crew. Plus 3 officers, one of which is a hologram, and 6 cadets. Yeah, how's that supposed to operate a ship? Especially when the Doctor's now malfunctioning, the captain is being kidnapped, one of your cadets is trying to fix the Doctor in the captain's quarters for some reason, the holographic, or I should say the other holographic student is also down there doing nothing but freaking out. Caleb is off watching Tig Notaro. He's literally down in engineering watching a screen, or engineering. I have no idea what way they're trying to work out that, but it's like, so you have 3 people left on the bridge, 3 cadets, and one of them ends up leaving the bridge. So now you had 2 cadets on the bridge of a damaged starship. What are they supposed to do? They have no training. The last time we saw them all on the bridge was in a training exercise and they managed to get themselves killed. So we've gone from, and this is where all this inconsistency with all these things come from, is they were an absolute disaster and could not work together and figure out what to do and how to do it on the bridge in a simulation. But now there's only 2 of them left on the bridge and they have everything under control. Yeah, no, doesn't work like that. The show kept introducing things and forgetting things. Hey, Noose Baraka's our biggest threat ever. He's in a total of 4 episodes. 4 episodes out of 10. Tatiana's Maslany. She's meant to be the thing that gets Caleb. She is the beacon that drives who this character is. She's in 3 episodes. And it was like, okay, what the hell is happening here? How are they flip-flopping from episode to episode on what these characters like? Hey, we just gone through a traumatic situation. We survived it, but that was scary, wasn't it? Next episode, we're all completely fine. We're all going on a break, spring break. Woo! We're going to the beach in Ibiza. We're going to party here. We're going to do this. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to sit here and sunbathe. Following episode. Oh, you remember that event 2 months ago? Yeah, I'm still traumatized from it. Even though last week's episode, we were completely fine. It was such a disaster with all that type of shit. It was back and forth. Jaden again. I'm a warrior. No, you're not. You're a pacifist. You like watching birds. And then it turns out, oh no, what really makes a Klingon warrior is that they would like to watch birds. You know, it's whatever you set your mind to. That's what makes you a warrior. No, it isn't. But then he's even in episode 10 saying, and it was a line that was delivered in the first trailer for this show, and it turns out it's in the last episode, is him saying to Caleb, a warrior does not let a friend face danger alone. It's like, but you're not a warrior. You're not even close to being a warrior. And then the stuff they did with the Klingons. So the Klingons are on the verge of extinction. There's apparently only 8 houses left, which made no sense when we were told the 8 houses went down on a crashed ship. But then there's a fleet of Klingon ships at the end of that same episode. So the Klingons are on the verge of extinction. So they made Jaden gay. So he's Gaiden. So he has no interest in trying to repopulate the species of the Klingons. His parents were a mother and 2 fathers. It was like, what in the name of all that's holy is going on? And then they have a mock-up battle so the Klingons would accept a planet. It was just frustrating and aggravating. Everything about this season was just so inconsistent, so gobbledygook magic. There was no science in this show. It was all magic. Half of it was X-Men, which they wanted it. The other half was Harry Potter, which they wanted it. Things could have... Why is there people in wheelchairs? They literally have things that they can clone eyeballs of people. Clone eyeballs. So you're telling me you can clone stuff that would work because the eyeball worked because it was getting scanned. So if the computer could pick up the actual retinal scan from a fake eyeball, then surely you could get the dude in the wheelchair to walk. Or how about the guys and girls with the glasses on? Surely you could do something for them. Your growing eyes over there. Strange New Worlds was set 1,000 years before this. Do you know what they did in Strange New Worlds? They had a thing that could regrow eyes. So why people are wearing glasses in this future, we don't know. It was such a train wreck of a season. And now Alex Kurtzman apparently has gone in for the first time to meet David Ellis and stuff and try and convince them to continue his contract. He's gone in to pitch the future of Star Trek on TV. And hopefully Ellison and Skydance has the absolute common sense to turn around and go, we know exactly what the future is for Star Trek on TV and the big screen. And it doesn't involve you or Secret Hideout. So there's the door. Don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you. Piss off. That is what needs to happen right now. This season, season 1 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, the most inconsistent, nonsensical garbage we've ever seen in Star Trek, finally came to an end. Good God, we have a season 2, unless Paramount actually does the sensible thing and just can it and say, yeah, no, we're not releasing that. So with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and hit that hype button and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I shall catch you in the next one.